Ladies and gentlemen, it is now 6:00 p.m. and a quorum of members is present. So the meeting of the Board of Education of the School District of New Berlin is called to order. Please call the roll.
Ms. Crosby,
Here.
Mr. Helmer,
Here.
Ms. Connick, Ms. Schultz,
Here.
Mr. Seidel,
Here.
Ms. Spindler,
Here.
Mr. Zelinski.
Here.
Ms. Connick let us know that she is not able to attend tonight, and Ms. Schultz is attending virtually. I would entertain a motion to recess into closed session.
I'll make a motion to adjourn into closed session pursuant to section 19.85 1C E and F of the Wisconsin statutes to consider the executive session.
Yep, I fixed it.
Executive session to discuss approved superintendent 2024-2025 evaluation and set the superintendent 2025-26 goals. Approve, B, the approval of closed session minutes of October 27th. C, employment, performance, and compensation matters pertaining to staff.
Do I have a second? I have a motion by Mr. Seidel and a second by Mr. Zelinski. Please call the roll.
Mr. Seidel,
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski,
Yes.
Ms. Crosby,
Yes.
Mr. Helmer,
Yes.
Ms. Spindler.
Yes.
Oh, Ms. Schultz.
Yes.
We are moving into closed session and will return to open session around 7:00. It is now 7:03, and we are returning from closed session into open session. In recognition of the serious and important nature of our effort here, we will join in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. For all those who are able, please rise. And now for those who wish to prepare for the meeting, we will have a moment of silence. This is a public meeting of the Board of Education. Prior to this meeting, notice was given to the public last Friday by providing the agenda to the city library. The agenda was also posted on the district website. A copy of the agenda was forwarded to the Journal-Sentinel, the Waukesha Freeman, and the Waukesha Now, all of which have filed requests for all public notices. First item on the agenda is privilege of the floor. Do we have any?
No.
The next item is the president's message and announcements. I don't think we have any. And then the administrative team report.
Yeah, I did just want to make a note to the general public that Janet Scholes is present via teleconference. And I'll defer my updates to the regular agenda. And so now we do have a video update from our respective Peyton Eisenhower student rep.
Good evening. Ike students have been learning a lot in classes recently with Anatomy carving pumpkins using their directional terms. They learned to simulate what it would be like in the healthcare field, and students in retail operation management have been running the Lions Den Cafe in the Commons. Tomorrow, New Orleans West is hosting a Veterans Day celebration in honor of all the local veterans, and where all 8th grade students in the district will go and watch the presentation. And Eisenhower Student Services and Counselors just started their yearly junior conferences. Eisenhower clubs have recently been active, with Eisenhower and New Berlin West DECA collecting over 20,000 food items for the New Berlin Pantry as a part of their Trigger Can event. New Berlin Eisenhower theaters will have their auditions for the musical Bye Bye Birdie next Monday. Student Union is having their annual food drive, which started today and will run till the end of the week. And Spanish Honor Society had their annual salsa competition, where students enter their salsa and staff and students vote on which one they like the most. And fall sports have been concluding, with the Eisenhower boys soccer team concluding their season, finishing just one game away from the state tournament while being regional champions and sectional runners-up. Boys volleyball season ended in their sectional semifinal, and the girls volleyball team ended their season in the regional final. Eisenhower girls cross-country team finished up placing 10th at the WIA State Cross Country Championships, along with the boys' individual qualifier, senior Eli Shar, who placed 19th in Division II at the state tournament. Eisenhower girls swim and dive had 11 girls competing this weekend in the sectional meet, with senior Nora Green qualifying for state in diving. And winter sports kick off today with girls basketball and boys basketball, boys swim and dive, wrestling, and hockey to follow. Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the consent agenda, which includes the notice and the approval of minutes of the board meeting of October 27th. Are there any items that should be pulled out for separate consideration? Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Seidel and a second by Mr. Zelinski to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, raise your right hand. That motion passes. On to our regular agenda. The first item on our regular agenda is the teaching and learning presentation.
Yeah, I'll ask Director of Secondary Schools Kelly Kwiatkowski and Director of Elementary Schools Matt Stempneski to present the Forward and ACT data results.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us tonight so we can present our Forward Exam and ACT results from last spring. So we'll start with the elementary. This line that you see in there represents the change in cut scores. And so from spring of 23 to spring of 24, there was a change in the cut scores, as you can see kind of by the jump in achievement there. But now we have 2 years worth of the same cut scores, so we can kind of see, we're starting to, we can kind of see our achievement over time here. So we're kind of starting over, but now we'll have 2 data points to kind of see how our students are achieving. And so this is 3rd grade forward exam and the percent of kids that are meeting and advanced. So from 73% of the kids meeting and advanced to 72% in ELA. And now this is also ELA, and this is a true cohort. So these are the same kids from spring of 2024 to spring of 2025. So 3rd graders in the spring of 24 to 4th graders in the spring of 25. These are the exact same kids. And so you can see that they achieved the same as they did the year before. And then, sorry about that. There we go. And now this is all 3rd grade for math. The percent of kids meeting in advance for math. Our achievement is very similar to the last 2 years. And then again, this is 3rd to 4th grade true cohort data, so the exact same kids from their 3rd grade spring to 4th grade. Steady, consistent achievement. This is 4th grade social studies. So at elementary, the 4th graders take social studies and science, along with math and ELA. So a very, an area of strength for us here, the percent of kids meeting and advanced in social studies took a very big jump there. And then here is 4th grade science, has stayed consistent. Let me kind of go back. There is no orange line there because the cut scores for social studies and science did not change. So this longitudinal data, the same expectations, same cut scores for the past 5 years there. So now this slide does say ELA grade cohort proficiency, but it's not the same kids. It's the majority of the kids are the same, but not the exact same kids. We didn't filter those kids out. So this is more about seeing the achievement over, from one year to the next. And if you want to follow the majority of the kids, you would look diagonally. And so if you start with 3rd grade, that gray box under 23, 24, if you go diagonal, so it's 72.5 to 71.6, the majority of those kids dropped a little bit. And so if you go to the 4th grade, 70.2, and then you go over to the column 24, 25 diagonally, 73% of them are meeting in advance. So that cohort grew. So you can do that for these next couple slides diagonally to follow a certain group of kids. So you see an area of strength there, 7th to 8th grade, 10% jump in achievement, percent of kids meeting in advanced. So that's the way to look at these slides. And here they are for the neighboring school districts. And so really what we do is we take a look diagonally as well and try to take the same look, same analysis that we would do with our kids, is to see how the grade levels did, the majority of their cohorts did from one year to the next, and follow that color diagonally. And then here it is for math. So 3rd to 4th, there was a little bit of a dip, 4th to 5th a little bit, but then 5th to 6th made a really nice jump. 6th to 7th about the same, and then from 7th to 8th another nice jump again. So that's the best way to look at that. And once again, that kind of red-orange line is that change in cut scores. And then the Waukesha County comparisons again. For math. I spoke to these kind of along the way, but we talked about the social studies achievement. The 5th to 6th growth in math and ELA, 4th to 5th in ELA as far as areas of strength. And then, of course, the areas of growth, we, as I mentioned, the 3rd to 4th, and then the 5th to 6th had that negative cohort growth data. But once again, that cohort just means the majority of the kids in a grade level. The true cohort data is what we showed from 3rd to 4th grade. And then I'll be back up at the end. We'll talk about some points of emphasis.
At secondary, we give the forward assessment to our 7th and 8th grade students in English, math, social studies, and science. Those two are specific in 8th grade. And then we also give it in 10th grade for social studies. So when we're looking at our 7th to 8th grade, this is a true cohort. So we took out all students who weren't here either in 7th or 8th grade. We did see an increase from our students last year in 7th to this year in 8th grade for ELA. When we're looking at our 7th graders and how they perform over time, these are not the same students. The 7th graders last year were different than the 7th graders this year. We did see an increase in score. Math, it was stagnant when you're looking 7th to 7th grade, different students. And then when we're looking at the cohort of students, the 7th graders in spring 24 to the 8th graders now in 25, we saw an increase. And again, it's kind of hard to compare it to the increase the year before because the cut scores changed. Same orange line. In science, like Matt said, the cut scores didn't change, so this would be comparable. We did see a decrease in achievement in 8th grade students. And about the same for 8th grade social studies, still performing high. This is the same chart Matt showed you, so I will skip through it, but how 8th grade did and 7th grade did when you're looking at not a true cohort, but a cohort diagonally through color. And then math. If you look at 8th grade for mathematics, our scores were some of the highest in Waukesha County. And then achievement comparison. So I'm going to just show you a little bit about our subgroup population. I think it's important to note that every student in the subgroup is a student with a story, and they're all unique. So while I might say students with disabilities, those students all look very different. The same thing with EL. And these are our overall demographics. So not much change within our subgroup population. The percent of English language learners, us comparatively to the district, did increase. We're now the second highest in Waukesha County. Economically disadvantaged. Percent of students with IEPs. And this is a gap analysis. So when we're comparing ourselves with other Waukesha County schools, if it's negative, it means that we are performing lower than them. If we're higher, if it's positive, that means we are performing higher than them. And this is for ELA. And this is forward, so this is 3rd through 8th grade. So even though I'm presenting it, it's all of the forward assessment for ELA. And this is math. And then you can see the gap analysis for 23-24 as well as 24-25. We didn't go prior to that because this cut scores changed. And when comparing our subgroup ELA achievement, so again, this is 3rd through 8th grade forward, ELA, students with disabilities, this is how we're performing. And so this was the change from how we performed in 23-24 to how we performed in 24-25. In this case, if it's positive, we moved up. If it's negative, we moved down. and the number is the percent of students. This is mathematics. This is economically disadvantaged students. Now this is math, students who are economically disadvantaged. ELA, students who are English learners. Math, English learners. And then pre-ACT, ACT. Okay, so pre-ACT, again, is for 9th and 10th grade. Students take pre-ACT Secure in spring. It's part of the state accountability assessment. I'm going to show you both pre-ACT cut scores, so that is the national cut scores made by the ACT organization on college benchmarks, and those are based on predictors of success. And then I'll show you DPI cut scores, which are adjusted based off of the state assessment and definition of readiness. So in this case, this is the pre-ACT cut scores for all the different subjects. So for each subject, we did see an increase. And this is just 9th grade students and their composite scores. So they're given a score that simulates what an ACT test might be for them. So you can see how we did 9th grade spring of 2024 and then 9th grade spring of 2025 in the darker shade color. And this is us against our Waukesha County peers. And this is us for 10th grade. So when looking at 9th to 10th grade composite scores, so the 9th graders in spring 24, who then were 10th graders in spring 25, we can see those students did make an increase. And then we compared in this chart the increase to other Waukesha County schools. So it's not a true cohort because we wanted to compare the exact score to how the other Waukesha County schools did. So to pull that from WISE-Public, we pulled it all equally. And then pre-ACT secure math readiness. Again, this is the pre-ACT cut scores defined by ACT. In English. And this is both 9th and 10th grade students combined. In reading. And science. I think it's important to note that science won't be calculated for the ACT composite score moving forward. So we'll let you know how that looks for the pre-ACT Secure next year when we're presenting. And this is the DPI cut scores for math. So you can see there's a little bit difference compared to what the pre-ACT cut scores were for mathematics. Higher scores here. And ELA proficiency. And then moving into the ACT, this is ACT. All of our juniors take the ACT in March, and that's part of the state accountability assessment. This was our total composite score across Eisenhower and West, and you can see it did go down. So each of these years are a different set of students. These are the subtest score trends. So a similar trend to our composite score. And these cut scores did not change. And this is how we compared against our Waukesha County peers. I think it's important to know ACT has changed, so the composite score is now English, reading, and math, and there's no science. So our students will still be taking the science assessment as juniors, so I'll still be able to report out how they do, but their composite score will be different than it is now. It's still going to be out of 36, so it's the same calculation, but we will have students, and we do have students right now who have a composite score that add in science, and then students who have a composite score without science. In 24 and 25, we were awarded with a gold AP honor roll. Both of our schools do an excellent job at preparing students for the AP assessment, and this has resulted in these results. So last year we had 1268 tests that were given, and 86% of those tests were passing tests. So forward secondary, 7th grade ELA, 8th grade math were strengths, and our 7th to 8th grade, both ELA and math, forward scores did show growth. 8th grade science is something we'll continue to watch and look at through item analysis to determine what we could improve regarding our curriculum and instruction. And sometimes it's not just 8th grade, it's 7th grade too, because they test in 4th grade and then 8th grade. So data to highlight, pre-ACT had a lot of strengths. ACT was down, so that's something that we're looking at now and we'll continue to look at through the year and prepare students a little bit different for that assessment in 11th grade. We have purchased Mastery Prep, which is a different ACT program that preps students for this new ACT, and that's something our students are already started on. And then the points of emphasis for both elementary and secondary.
All right, so this evening we just showed you a few data points. We focused on 3rd grade, we showed you some 4th grade, but essentially we use those data points and compare them to the universal screeners. So last time we were here, we talked about FastBridge and Ames Web Plus. That's another data point. Forward ACT, that's another pre-ACT. Those are other data points compared to the student summative assessments, maybe some progress monitoring that they're using throughout week to week in school. So we use all of these data points when we really talk about a student. And this, as Kelly referred to, the story behind the data, the story behind every student, and how every learner is different, and we use all these data points to determine what they need. Some other things that we're focusing on for this year is reviewing the scope and sequence, using some of the tools from DPI, and so they do have like item analysis by standard for both the math and the ELA forward exam, and so it really by grade level it will tell you, oh, there's going to be this many questions about geometry. There's going to be this many questions about, numbers and algebraic thinking. And there's also a kind of a code on there as to what the emphasis is. So we compare that to our scope and sequence to make sure, for example, geometry, there's only going to be 4 to 6 questions about geometry in 5th grade on the 5th grade forward exam. And kids are only supposed to know, they're not supposed to be masters at it yet. They do that for every standard so that we kind of know, okay, when there's numbers and algebraic thinking, there's gonna be 12 to 15 questions on that for math, and the kids are supposed to be masters at that point in the school year in spring. And so we compare that item analysis to both ELA and math to our scope and sequence to make sure that we are, kids are learning what they're supposed to know by the time they take this test in the spring. As you know, we're in a math review and piloting year for these last 2 years, so we're looking at our current curriculum as well as other resources. We are always looking to improve test prep activities, whether that is close reading strategies or fact fluency or writing prompts. Getting the kids to practice responding the way that they have to respond on the test is something that we've really tried to improve the last couple of years, so that the kids know what the exam is actually asking them. And then one other thing that CISA really kind of shared with us last year, these target group outcomes, these are not subgroups. This is just a report that you can run that shows you by grade level which kids are performing in the different groups, beginning, developing, meeting, or advanced. And it kind of gives you an idea of which kids over time, or even just based on last year's scores, how they might do in the spring. And so if we know that certain kids are on track to stay beginning or developed, we can then goal set with them. We can make intervention time groups with them. We can have a different kind of focus based on these target group outcomes that are associated, it's another report you can run that's associated with the results that we get. So really a deep dive into the results of the exam, beyond just the % of kids that are meeting in advanced, which is what we shared with you tonight. Any questions for us?
Guess I do have a question. So the ACT went down last year, or this past spring. Did you see that in the pre-ACTs? Did that, were you aware that that could potentially go down?
Yeah, we were aware that could potentially go down, and we look at the pre-ACT secured data from spring, but in 9th and 10th grade, we give a practice 10th and 11th grade, we give a practice ACT in fall. So students who are new to us, we can see how they perform as well, and sometimes students perform differently in spring, and then they're different students in fall, depending on any summer slide. So then we get an accurate information for our current teachers about how they might perform in the spring. So we knew based off of the data that it would go down a little bit. And then we tried to do everything possible to mediate that decrease. And they did outperform what we expected them to do based off of the fall assessment, but they didn't perform as high as we would have liked them to do or perform as high as the previous year.
And then the other one was the cut scores. You said DPI has different cut scores than
They do.
That's ACT or pre-ACT?
Pre-ACT secure.
So there isn't different cut scores for ACT?
No.
Okay. Oh, one more question, sorry. Social studies, what year are we in curriculum for that one? Are we looking at that soon?
I think it's a few years. I'll have to get back to you off the top of my head.
Yeah.
It's coming up, though.
I did want to let the board know, too, there is state legislation that's being proposed as it relates to math. I did mention to the board as part of my evaluation process that we seem to be outperforming the county as it relates to math, 3rd through 8th grade, and then even as far as getting into pre-ACT and ACT. It's the old adage of why fix it if it ain't broke, but we do have to update our resources. Based on the legislation and the budget situation that we're in next year, we may actually slow down our math alignment process another year or two so that we can really find out what exactly the state is going to be wanting us to do. It's not going to be as a monumental shift as it was with ELA because you were going from, basically the balanced literacy approach to a structured literacy approach, and that was a pretty substantial change. With math, we don't necessarily see that substantive of a change, but there will be a change, and so we may be considering delaying moving into a different curricular resource as we had planned this year, just based off of those different things. But more to come. And I did provide an update, a written update to the board of where we are in the math realignment process. If you have any additional questions, please let me know. We'll be happy to provide responses to that. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Kelly, stay up there.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna, the next item is to discuss and approve the new course proposal for 26-27.
So annually at this meeting, we bring you proposed courses for the secondary school. Kelly's here to do that. We're seeking your approval of these courses. Note that we do have, we are prepared to fund these various courses within the budget if the board approves them. Kelly.
Okay, thank you for having me. This is an update on last year's approved courses. So there was two courses that you approved, the Microsoft Professionals course and then AP Pre-Calculus course. Those courses are running at both schools, and the numbers you see are the enrollments at both specific schools. Accounting is the first course that's being proposed. This course is being proposed based off of analysis on the jobs outlook in the area. We do have a dual enrollment accounting that we provide students from UW-Whitewater. It's their intro to accounting course. Students do take that course. It is a very rigorous course. So this is for students who are exploring this position, this job, but aren't quite ready for a dual enrollment course. Students would need the Microsoft Professionals course, experience and proof that they can work in Excel. And this is for students who are in 9th through 12th grade. It is in the business department. It's a semester long. Computer pathway update. So this is a major update in the computer pathway. This is after looking at the needed skills and knowledge in this field and changing accordingly. So this is adding 2 semester classes, Intro to Computer Science 1 and 2, and the department did a good job of which ones can be deleted if we add those. Exploring Computer Science, Web Design 2, and Computer Programming can be eliminated because those skills would all be embedded in the 2-semester course sequence. That would include some computer programming, some AI, some web design, and everything that's in computer science. We would take away cybersecurity, which is now a semester course, and offer AP cybersecurity, which is a year-long course. It is not the most rigorous AP course, so the teachers thought that the students who enter in cybersecurity could also be successful in AP cybersecurity. Our teachers in computer science have some of the highest passing rates out of all of our AP teachers, so I do have confidence that they would adequately prepare our students for a passing test. That would be in 26-27, and then we would add AP networking for grades 10 through 12 in 27-28. Woo. All right, so that is just a redesign of the pathway. It doesn't add FTE, but it does change some courses and outcomes. Developmental psychology is actually a course we have students taking coursework now through Start College Now, WCTC, and we pay for that coursework. So this would actually take that course and hold it on campus at Eisenhower. It's a semester-long course. The students would need to pass AP Psychology to take this course with a score of a 3. It would be mainly for juniors and seniors then. It's seen most often in an education pathway, but also in a human resource pathway as well. And it would just be held at Eisenhower because that is where the teacher has the credentials to be able to teach that class, but students at West can come over and take the course here. And that's it. That's the courses.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Like when I was in school way long ago, there were not very many AP classes. How many AP classes are there now?
Ooh, there's over 30. I can get you the exact list.
I was
I do have a
curious,
list.
yeah.
Yes.
Are we?
Quite a
It seems
few.
like we do have quite a bit of them here.
We do. We do not have all of them. There's an econ one that we don't offer. I think AP World we don't offer. So there are several that we still don't offer, but we do have a large amount.
Yeah, and I think those computer science ones are, that's something that's really big out there right now, so I can see those being a good add to it.
Yeah. And our AP Computer Science Principles class has been getting higher and higher enrollment, so the interest is there.
Yep. Okay, do I have a motion to approve these course proposals?
Second, or,
So moved. A second. You make the
yeah, I
motion.
got the second.
All right, I'll take the motion.
A motion by Mr. Seidel and a second by Mr. Halmer to approve the courses. Are there any discussion? Is there any? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes.
Amy, as a point of,
Don't forget about my vote.
yep,
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Oh, yep.
I'm in favor too.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. Okay, so we have 2 actions from closed session.
Amy, as a point of order,
Oh, did I forget?
can we also confirm or affirm Janet's vote on the consent agenda?
Oh, sure.
Yes, I'm in favor.
Okay, so for the record, that was also approved unanimously.
Yep. I'm sorry.
and
I'll
now-
recall the roll the next time. Yeah.
No, that's okay.
I forgot too.
Yeah.
Yep, and now we can move on to the closed session items.
So we have 2 items from closed session.
I'll make a motion to approve the superintendent 2024, 2025 evaluation as presented.
Second.
So I have a motion by Mr. Seidel and a second by Mr. Helmer to approve the evaluation. All those, well, sorry, Tracy, call the roll.
Mr. Seidel,
Yes.
Mr. Helmer,
Yes.
Ms. Crosby,
Yes.
Ms. Spindler,
Yes.
Ms. Schultz,
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski.
Yes.
Motion passes. And we have a second item from closed session.
I move to improve in the employment services report as presented.
I second that.
So I have a motion by Ms. Spindler and a second by Mr. Zelinski. Please call the roll.
Ms. Spindler,
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski,
Yes.
Ms. Crosby,
Yes.
Mr. Helmer,
Yes.
Ms. Schultz,
Yes.
Mr. Seidel.
Yes.
Motion passes. This brings us to future meetings and dates. The board meetings are generally held the second and fourth Mondays, beginning at 7 PM in Conference Room E at the district office, unless noted otherwise. So our next meeting is December 8th. That'll be the only meeting in December, and then after that is January 12th. Some other important dates, November 24th is a staff in-service, so there's no school. And then November 25th through the 28th is our Thanksgiving break. December 22nd to January 2nd will be our winter break. So ready to adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Seidel and a second by Mr. Helmer to adjourn. Should I do all those? Okay. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Janet?
She did not say no.
Yes.
Oh, I was on mute. I was raising my hand, I said. Yes.
All right, motion passes. The meeting is adjourned.